Right, another day of cutting these hedges. I've almost finished. There's only this little bit left, but because there was all sorts of rubbish and I was running out of time because I was doing other things, I'll finish this today. I'll cut these down a little bit lower down. The last of this hawthorn will have to go as well when it's still quite high, so I want it right down at the base where I can cover it and hopefully it will die. And then this piece here, which from the other side is way over my head. So if I can get this cut and out of the way, I should get a lot more light on that side. Because at the moment this area is just used as a general dumping area because the ground is very slopey, and because it's all shaded and full of weeds and stones, nobody's done anything with it for years. But if I cut the hedges, that will give a lot of light to the bean bed. I mean, it's not been a problem, but cutting that will give a lot more light over on this side, and then I can take some of this fencing down and sort this mess out. So all these various things that are hammered into the ground and concreted into the ground like this, they concreted something in and then they've cut the metal bar and just left the concrete with a piece of metal sticking out. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's an odd corner, this bit. There's a barrel here and beginning of spring. I haven't taken anything out, and this is all it's managed to get during the whole of the winter, so really it's not much. The bean bed is sitting there nicely with a bit of weed fabric on it, and it's not been 2 months since I cleared all this stuff. Well, I didn't clear it, I dug all the main weeds out, but now things like nettles are popping their heads up. But this vista will change and things will change back here too, so we'll get things sorted. I'm just going to get on with it and do it because I've got permission from the previous tenants and if the new tenants don't like it, they can lump it because it'll be done by the time they get here. But this mess has got to be sorted out. There's all sorts of brambles and rubbish here. There's loganberry here, so I will take some layers off this, but otherwise everything else is rubbish. Well, the brambles and nettles that were between this rhubarb and the Anderson's shelter gave a good fight, but they're gone. The only thing left is this tree that is still here, and we've got it all over the place, and really it's in the wrong place. It's just the birds drop seeds everywhere, and this thing managed to grow here, but it's in the wrong place because that's south, and so it's on the south side of my plot, and I really don't want this thing growing and shading out what's going to be my vegetables, so it's got to go. Otherwise this area is ready. All I've got to do is pull up the obligatory carpet that's around this rhubarb, and I think once I've levelled this area up I will be ready to put the bath here. And above the Anderson's shelter, which is falling apart, I've got some sheets of corrugated metal, so I'm going to use these to go along here and cover this area because I certainly don't want any of this rubbish coming through. This wheelie bin was on the other plot, so this will, help yourself to whatever you want, and I did. I was going to use it for the liquid plant foods because it's got a nice lid and you can just throw the weeds in, shut the lid and you're done. Whereas with these I've got to take the brick off, take the tops off, take the plastic off, put the weeds in and then put everything back. So these wheelie bins are easier, but once I'd emptied the compost out the bottom, there is a hole right at the bottom. That's a big hole. I could seal it and run the risk of, if it leaks, then all the liquid plant food will leak out. The other option is to use it as a wormery, because I think this is sturdy enough to stand up to rats, because they will eat anything that's like good food. So long as I don't overload it, and every time I put something in, put something to cover it, I think if it doesn't smell like food, the rats won't bother with it. Obviously this one hole at the bottom is ideal, and I could collect all the juices. So if I put this on something a little bit higher, I could collect all the juices, because obviously it's got a lid on it, so the rain's not going to wash lots of stuff down. Well, I can try it and see what happens. So this will be wormery. And all the nettles that I dug up out of that corner are now in this bin, and this will eventually be the nettle bin. Right, what I'm going to do is go right deep, well under the ground level. Right, well, you can see that root there. There's another root that runs that way, and that little one, and there's probably another one that goes that way, but that's going to be difficult to dig out without removing that metal, so that's not going to happen. But got a bit of a heft. Let's see how it... Yeah, it's not moving. I can try cutting that bit and then see how it goes. This is how I hurt my shoulder trying to pull another little stump out, so I'm not going to damage myself again. So I've dug around it, so I'm going to cut it at the base below ground level. Right, got that. Just that little bit of root that's attached there. I can pull that out. Right, so that won't be coming back. So that's how to get rid of little stumps. Compare that to the size of my hand. It's not that big, but it put up a good fight. But it's the bigger ones that are really difficult. Right, this corner is cleared, and I can do what I want. The only thing left is actually this carpet should come out fairly easily. I mean, it's not just like one layer of carpet, it's all tangled up and layers upon layers, but it will come off. So get rid of that layer. There's another layer underneath it. And look at the nettle roots underneath that. Crumbs. Well, the nettles out on a bad day today. I pulled a lot of roots out. I'm happy with that. I'll sort out the carpet. Well, there's no carpet down this end apart from... God, rubbish. But this area is sorted. It's a load of bricks. I mean, I've been there that long and I've got that thick layer of moss on them. I'll get this sorted, and I'll see if I can do that in that corner. I think it's time for a lunch break, and this rhubarb is ready to go. Some nice stalks on it, so what I'm going to do is treat myself to some rhubarb and stew that up tonight. I was looking at this concreted monstrosity and thinking, what should I do with it? Maybe I could cut the bottom off a barrel and put that on top of it and grow something in the barrel. Obviously I don't want anything too high because that's the beam bed. I don't think anything sort of 50-60 centimeters would not cause a problem. I was looking at the barrels and thinking, which one shall I cut the bottom from and use something like this one, which has got the blueberries in it. And we've actually got a nice growth on there now. I'll give it a feed later on in the week. I'm not too worried about a couple of dandelions on there because I don't worry about dandelions. But everything else seems to have been cleared off. There's this on the neighbouring plot which is no longer used, and they said help yourself to whatever you want because they've taken on everything they wanted. So I could take this and put on top of this. Right, I've removed the glass from this area, and I don't think some of it has seen a light of day for years. I've removed some of the brambles that were in the way, but they've got these huge great stumps that are actually rooted into the concrete. I don't know how I'm going to get rid of that, but we'll try. I mean, there is a lot of rubbish here, so I'm going to bag this up. There's a lot of rubbish that was under the old bar. And it's got paving slabs here, but I think it might have something here as well, because it's solid underneath. I can feel it. So once I've cleaned out the rubbish and cleaned it up, I think this will be okay. And if it's actually been laid properly, then I won't have to level the barrels because the ground should be level. Should be, but nothing ever is on this plot. Right, this area is done. All those hedges are done, and it has created a lot more space and light, and it's a lot better compared to where it was. It's absolutely unbelievable. Now I've got a lot of rubbish in this corner, a lot of glass, and I can't lift it because there's all this other stuff on top of it, slabs and bricks and all sorts that's been here for who knows how long. I'll find a use for the slabs, but I'll put this glass into one of those bread boxes because it's all intact, so I'll see if I can get it to a reclaiming place. I might be able to do something with it. this bed, compared to what it was, it's a world away. I mean, all we did was chuck a few leaves in winter and had a bit of leaf mould, but now it's a 4 square metre raised bed. Obviously this has got all the bits of privet on it, this bed, but, well, what was the old compost bay, but I think I might turn this into a bed as well now. The thing is, all the stuff that was shading it out is gone. Obviously the brambles are still here, so they'll cause trouble, but the best thing, that hawthorn is gone. Just a few stumps left and I'll deal with those. And I've started on this piece, but really there was nothing here on this side, so I'll see what I can do with this. But it's not urgent, this bit, so it can wait till later in the year, possibly the winter. So I will put something here just to cover it, and that will be that. Now this bit, looking at this bed from this side, I put this in last year to hold the leaves, but that will go when I turn this into a raised bed. I'll put some corrugated metal there, along there, to hold the privet back and stop it growing this way. And then I can use this area, because it was out here before and there was really left about 20 centimetres of space, but now there's a good metre in there, so I can use that. Now in front of this is all garlic mustard, so there's the side of the bed, and in front of it this is all garlic mustard, which I'm keeping because you can eat it. So although it's a weed, it grows like a weed everywhere. Here I'm keeping it. I'll get rid of those nettles because I don't want to be stung when I'm picking the garlic mustard, but I'll get a few meals out of it, and it really takes no looking after. And once I sort the edge of this raised bed, then it'll be fine. It gets quite tall, but if you don't let it go to seed, then it's not a problem. So this will be a permaculture-ish, because there is some nettles there as well. The only problem is the nettles will grow and start seeding and get in the way of the garlic mustard, so I think I might have to take them out. But yeah, I'm pleased with this. This area was cleared and I put some comfrey in here, but the badgers decided to dig holes and use the holes as a toilet. You can see the comfrey's coming up there and there, but some of it they actually dug up, and there's more garlic mustard coming up there, so that's another dinner. I'll put these in here. This might then decide to go somewhere else, but now that the nettles are coming up, I think that'll keep them out. So I'll tidy up this area before I go. Well, so far so good. Not had any more badger activity down the front, but might be early days, so we'll see what happens. The side of the greenhouse was a mess of brambles and rubbish, which needed clearing. Had a bit of a mishap. This is supposed to nail onto something over there, but obviously all that wood has rotten away. So that fell off, which meant the piece of perspex has come out and dropped down there. But I can fix that, that's no problem. This is going to be more difficult because there's nothing to nail it to. All that wood is gone and it's all rotted away, so that's a problem. I have sorted the sides of this bed. I've got some plastic on the other plot that I think will do for the front of this bed, so I'm going to get that another day and sort that. And the back is going to be, I think, corrugated metal might be better, because it's got to be something that can stand up to the privet growing into it, so wobbly plastic may not be enough. So I think I'll put some corrugated metal or something here, and it will have netting over the top of it, but for the sides I've just put together a couple of metal frame with a fine grid on it, so I don't think a pigeon's going to get through that. And this is what's going to go on top of it, or this stuff. And this was already here, but I've refastened it properly with this wire, so I've wrapped it round and wrapped it through, and it's the same on the other side. And this wire, if anybody's wondering, I took a strand of this. It's all strands of wire that looked a bit tangled up, so people laughed at me for taking it, but once you undo the strand, it didn't actually take that long. So something that would have been thrown away is used for something useful. Before, this was tied with this sort of string, but obviously this isn't very strong, but this will last. This is not going to shift. It's even badger proof, I think. So I wouldn't try and test it with badgers. Well, this corner that was rather untidy, that I cleared up the other day, I put that old door, and it's held by the edge of the Anderson shelter and this post, and on the other side it's held by all the rubbish that's behind it and that trunk, so it hasn't got a lot of room to maneuver. Once I put the baths here, and there's going to be another one here, along here, they'll hold it in place. It's not going to wobble. So yeah, this big gap in the fence was bugging me, and this messy area was bugging me, so it's all sorted. Well, the baths have got to be moved here, but for now it's done. The only fly in the ointment at the moment is this loganberry that I'm going to take some layers from, so because of that I can't really put anything else along here, because it's sort of just on the other side of the fence and it's sort of sneaking underneath. So once I've got the loganberry sorted, I can possibly put something better over here and not have to look at this mess, but that really isn't a problem for now. Well, the greenhouse is sorted and tidied up. Got some plants in already, things like onions and spring onions and leeks, and this is still going, and I put it in last year and it's overwintered in here nicely. And there's obviously a few little bits that are getting a tatty, but considering it's been in here for many months, it's doing alright. So the figs are coming up, the goji is doing okay, well some of them are, that one's alright. They just need a good weed, some of them, same with the figs, but that's fine. Somebody gave me this mint at the end of last year and that one looks dead, but that one looks like it's coming up again. And these trays at the end are my trick for trying to avoid mice getting into seedlings. I'm going to try and put some beans and things in here rather than trying everything at home, because I'm running out of space. So I'll try and put the beans in here in the greenhouse to start them off, because obviously I'm not going to start them off in the beds. Yeah, pleased with these figs. I mean, it's even got little figs there, but I don't think it'll come to anything, but it's got little figs in that one. It's just absolutely teeming with them. We'll see what happens. Obviously I'm not expecting it to produce figs this year. Now, the first thing every morning when I come in, it's an episode of Turd Watch, that I have to look through this area and make sure there are no more badger latrines dug in around here, and so far so good, but we'll see, because this is where they like to use the toilet in front of my greenhouse, and under the neighbour's shed this is where they live, under there. But obviously I don't want to disturb them by going in. Right, now it's time to get rid of this stump, and what I'm going to do is cover it and wrap it round with some old carpet, and that will hopefully, what it will do is hold a lot of moisture and keep light out, so it will have a hard time getting any daylight, so it can't really grow. I might put a pot over the top of it, and now I'll just cover it with this terracotta pot. If I can get it in and balanced it. Need another hand like this, but that should block out all the daylight. Between the carpet and the terracotta pot, not letting get any light in. In fact, a tiny little bit of light might go through there, so I've got this other pot. Put that on top of that, and that really, it doesn't matter if it's got holes, because there won't be enough light to actually get that going. And there's plenty of carpet around it, so hopefully it will rot, because obviously this is the compost heap, and this will rot away. There will be fungi in there as well. Hopefully they will spread to that now and kill it, and that's a more natural way of getting rid of it, because I didn't want to put stump killer on it or any other poisons around it. Burning is not an option, so this is the only way, and hopefully that will either kill it or certainly slow it down. Now what I've got to do is put the piece of glass that was here back, and that is that. It's done and out of the way. That's another job ticked off. This bath was covered by the old carpet that I dug up from somewhere, and a few stones, because this was just nothing but a mat of weeds. Now it's time to see what it's done underneath. So yeah, that's obviously there will still be some weed seeds in it, but it's definitely killed. Yeah, it says it's definitely killed off the weeds, and look. And it's been there for what, a year and a half, 2 years maybe? No, not quite 2 years, but a year and a half at least, I think. But I'll lift this and we'll have a look. And there are still stuff coming through, but there was stuff that was actually on the carpet. And I've got these pots ready. These two are for courgettes and these are for the peas. So I'll take some of this stuff and put it into these. Then I can move this bath and it'll be ready for the barrels of blueberries. Well, the barrels are going to go in, the blueberries will go in next year, but I can get the barrels in, get the soil sorted out, then I can put the blueberries in next year. But let's see what's underneath this. Some of this carpet is tangled up with the weeds. Unfortunately, the weeds are rooting in the carpet, so it's all coming out. There was a piece of plastic here and that sort of started to break down, but so I'll pick those out and move this carpet. But yeah, it's reasonable, usable soil now. I think you might have to go through a sieve, but they're going to go into these pots, so anything that's in there will be easy to weed. And then these pots over winter go into the black Daleks, so anything that's in there should die off over winter. We'll see.